Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Cougar Evolution case. Excuse me. I want to say that I've had this case here since middle of August, and obviously this got kind of caught up with all the moving and everything like that, and it ran away with me. I was intending on getting this video up before I moved, and it has actually got the same kit in it from before I moved as well. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, put that out there. That has been here for a little while. Also, I was meant to have been testing it with the Cougar power supply as well. Now, because of like the move and everything like that, I've now got the power supply in another bench rig over there, testing some stuff that's going to be getting released very soon. So I'm going to be doing the review without the power supply in it, but I have already done all the testing and everything with it in there. So it's a little bit of a complicated one to start with, and I make my apologies right at the very beginning, but we will crack on from here. What I'm going to do is bring the camera in a bit, hopefully get the lights set up a bit better. This is the first review with the lights and with the blue background, so we will see how we get on. But I will say from the get-go that the case is available for $79.99. And we should really crack on with the review and see what we think. So I'm going to shush my mouth, move the camera, and bring you all in for a good look. Right then guys, going to be trying to do this a slightly different way, so we'll see how we get on. Taking a look at the top of the case, you can see basically it's quite a funky layout actually. We've got USB 2s on either side at the top, and then underneath there's two USB 3s. These are obviously on separate headers on the inside of the case. Over on the left hand side we have the microphone and the headphone connections. On this side we've got the hard drive activity light and then a reset switch. Up here there's a like a rubberized cover with the Cougar logo on it, but it drops down to reveal a hard drive dock, which you can fit a 2.5 inch or a 3.5 inch drive in. I've not got a hard drive I can grab quickly to be able to show you there, but it literally does, as you put the hard drive on, it fits in the rails lovely, and it can just slide in and locate into place. We've also got this is a rather large power button here, and the dial round the outside basically is to turn up and turn down it's like it's a fan controller. It's an infinite dial as well. It just keeps turning and turning and turning, so it'll obviously turn up till it goes to the maximum, and then it will turn back down again until they go right the way down, but they don't go right the way off. You've also got two switches as well, so you can select fan group A or fan group B. You can press it once, turn it on, once turn it off, and you can turn them both on as well. So yeah, that's a really nice touch, the fact that you can have two completely separate sets of fans in there should you wish to use them. And if I move the camera up quickly, you can see that there's a large meshed section on the top of the case. Underneath that there's room to fit two 120mm fans. I've got some of the Cougar Vortex series fans in there, and I will show you more about that in a second. Right then guys, starting from the top, you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 optical bays, and then if we move down slightly further you can see there's a mesh panel. We've got a 120mm fan fitted at the moment. I'm just going to remove the front panel to show you that it's 120mm only, but also if you have a look just slightly further up, there is also the chance that you can fit another 120mm fan in here, but more importantly this one's got a dust filter, whereas this lower one doesn't, and there is no dust filtering or anything on the front of the case. It's just the black mesh panel. Front comes on and off. It's quite sturdy to get off, and you do have to give it a bit of a whack to get it back on, but that's kind of normal. It's a nice, secure, solid feeling as the panel goes back on. Right then, guys and girls, moving on to the side of the case, you can see that we've got like an L-shaped window panel here, and it's not riveted in place, but it's got like the plastic spring clips that hold it in place. Obviously shows off your CPU heat sink quite well, and a bit of your graphics card. We've got an area here on the side where you can fit a 140mm fan should you wish, and during testing we did, because Cougar sent it to us. This has got a dust filter as well, and it does blow pretty much straight over your what I would say would be your two main graphics cards should you have them fitted. But looking at the side there, apart from this graphics, which the kind of sky blue really does stand out against the black, this design really does make me think Half X from Cooler Master. The design of the window and the fan, although this fan is much smaller than the one on the Half X, it does look very, very similar. It just, to me, instantly is what it made me think of. But obviously that's quite a popular design, so why not? Moving around to the back, the 120mm fan, I will show you inside in a second. It's got like an adapter bracket in there, but like I said, I'll show you that when we get inside. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PCI slots in the back, so that's basically your normal 7 plus an extra one at the bottom. PSU can be mounted both ways, which is also really good. There's also a removable dust filter for the bottom of the case, which is the dust filter for the power supply and the optional fan in the bottom. Large mesh area on this side. Something which is quite nice is these tabs. The fact that it's got engineered tabs, or it's part of the design, so you can put a nice sturdy padlock on should you be wanting to take this to LAN events or anything like that. Moving around to the back of the case, I did need to do this with the camera in my hand just to be able to show you. You can see that there's not a huge amount of room there. There's about 5mm of room at the back, but the case has got a like a beveled panel so that you can get the cables in fine. That's one of the reasons why I've left the cables like this, just to show you that once I put it all together, it all was perfectly fine. Didn't have any issues at all. There's also an extended amount of room down beside the optical drive bays should you need it, and to be perfectly honest with you, unless you've got the messiest non-modular power supply in the world, I really don't see you having an issue with the cable routing options at the back of the case. Obviously there is a very large CPU cutout here, which is also good. If you have a look at the top, just going to show you, because this is something I've quite liked. You can see that the cutout comes to the top and then also incorporates the slot to be able to put your 8-pin power through. This is brilliant because, I mean, so many other cases, they have them kind of stuck right up all over the place. This way, it actually makes it easier for you to route your cables, and it is a little bit shorter as well. I'm quite a fan of going up the back of the motherboard tray and normally up through the back here. So this extra cutout is actually brilliant, and it's a really nice feature. I really like this. Something I will say though, is if you have a look, the mounts for the motherboard are actually made into the case. There's no standoffs per se, they're actually engineered into the case, so there's no additional screw-in standoffs. You just screw the motherboard as near as damn it straight into the case, and it's like that with all of the mounts at the top. I nearly said all of them then, but further down you can see that you have to use them. So there's a few that are kind of made into the case, and some that are not, which I found quite what's the word I'm looking for, like bamboozling really, because okay, they've used like the main ATX points, which is fine, but if you were to use like an M-ATX board for example, then you'd still have all these extra ones around the outside. So it was a bit confusing, but hey, if you're just using a normal ATX motherboard, you're not going to have any problems whatsoever. Something I did want to show you just quickly is the door is quite a basic design. It's a pull out door that latches on at the front. So basically it's almost like a hinge idea, and then when you push it on at the back, then you just screw it into place to hold it there. But if I show you, as I take the door away, that is how it goes on. So it just pushes on like that, and then you push it and close it, and that's it. So there's no worries about clips breaking or anything like that. Now looking inside, we can see that you have a removable hard drive bay, which you can remove with that screw and that screw, and it holds 1, 2, 3, 4 hard drives. But something I really did like about this, the hard drive bays on this, is that sometimes with these hard drive docks you have to kind of peel and bend to get the clamp to go round the hard drive. With this, if I show you, all you need to do to be able to remove it is remove that. And basically that is the clips that hold the drive in place. So now the drive's able to move, but then once it's sat back in, all you need to do is push those clips on and then push that into place. Now that, although it's very basic, you'd be amazed the amount of toolless hard drive runners and stuff that you literally do have to bend the hard drive, runner to be able to fit it. So that, I think, is a really, really nice touch. I really, really like that. Simple yet effective. So that bit of it alone gets a thumbs up from me. You can see the 120mm in the front. We've also got a 140mm fan mounted in the bottom. You can also fit a 120 down there should you wish. You can see at the back we've got the 120 fitted, and we've got a 120 fitted in the roof as well. So yeah, there we go. You can see all the fans that we have fitted. Now, as I said previously, you can get 220mm fans in the roof, and you can just fit another one just up here. Cable management, there's no grommets, but there are plenty of cable management holes. There's also plenty of clips and points for you to be able to mount cables and the like. There's the 3 big cutouts down the side of the board for you to be able to put obviously your front panel cables through and everything like that. Then further down, depending on the size of your power supply, you've got a small power supply cutout there. Like I said, dependent, but most of you are probably going to end up using this one. This here is a selection of screw points, so you can keep your spare screws screwed at the bottom of the case, which, let's face it, a lot of us may end up losing all of our screws and stuff like that. I normally keep them in a safe spot, but for those of you that, you could just screw the spares in there and know that they're always going to be there. Optical bays are all toolless. Now you can see at the front there now, if I go this way round, you can see at the front that dust filtered extra 120mm fan there, should you want to use it. And the other optical bays above. So you could still have a 120mm fan in there and still have a good 3 bays there above at the top. Talking about the top, one thing I will say is the 120mm fans in the roof, there's not really enough room to fit the fans above, which also means that you've not really got any options there to be able to use that for water cooling. I would also go as far to say as there's not enough room up there for anyone that's thinking, oh, I could fit a Corsair H100 up there. So I would say this is probably a dedicated air rig. Okay, so for our case testing, we always use the NHD14 just to be able to give you a rough gauge on the size of the case. And you can see there that there's ample room there for the D14 and still plenty of room at the back. I think you could even fit the Fantex in this with its dual 140mm fans and still be able to comfortably get them in there. Also, the fan placement for the side of the case really doesn't impede on the heatsink at all either, and it's perfect for your graphics card. Talking of the graphics card, that's a 590 in there. The 6990 is probably the biggest, and that still fits in there as well. I just used the 590 for this testing. So you can fit all of the largest graphics cards in there without any problems. You won't get any problems with the hard drive rack or anything like that. There's plenty of room. So there we go, just to give you another good look in there. You can see that's a normal size ATX motherboard in there. You should still be able to get any ATX like a Rampage 3 Extreme in, because it will just come to the edge of this, so it should be fine. There you go, and you can actually make, I know there's no power supply in there at the moment, but you can actually make a really tidy build with this. When we had the Cougar 1050 watt power supply even in there, even though the power supply was massive and we used plenty of cables because of the graphics card and everything, the system was still really, really tidy. So all went together lovely. So I'm going to leave you with that for the minute, and I'm going to get on with the conclusion. Right then guys, on to the conclusion, and what do I think of the Evolution? Now, $79.99, so it's pretty well priced. This, do you know what I mean? It puts it right kind of what I would call in the middle of a sensible case buy kind of territory. It's not a budget, it's not kind of the media, do you know what I mean, like the medium. It kind of falls in between the two, because it's very well priced. Obviously cases now are quite easily getting over the £100 mark, but around £80 there's still quite a lot of competition. You've got obviously the Fractals, Cougar Master have a lot in that kind of area. You can even pick up some Lan Lees in there, but these gamery style ones are also becoming more popular, and you've got things like the Corsair 400R in there as well. Now, I can see a lot of the design ideas may have been taken from, especially with the side panel, from Cougar Master. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The mesh kind of area at the front and the design of this kind of hexagon kind of plastic mesh over the top, I actually really like, and I didn't think I would when I first saw it, but I think that's a really nice touch. It does, with the kind of sloped front as well, remind me quite a bit of the TJ07 from Silverstone, and again, I don't see that being necessarily too much of a bad thing. One thing I would say though, is you can make a very tidy rig out of it straight away. When you get it out of the box with the two fans, one thing I would say is I probably would say from the get-go, if you're thinking about buying this, to invest in some extra fans as well, especially if you're going to be having like a hot graphics card or something like that, or you know, heavily for gaming. And I would suggest either adding a fan in the bottom or in the side, and definitely at least one in the roof as well, just to get things flowing. You don't necessarily have to have those fans blowing and you know what I mean, running 12 volts and blowing nuts, but it's just to help keep the air coming in and going out. The side fan, although I don't necessarily like it rather than a bigger window, I can understand why they use it to help keep the graphics card cool with this, especially where it is going to be aimed, like I said, at gamers. Gamers obviously like, you know, to keep nice cold air blowing over their graphics cards quite a bit, and the extra one in the bottom will also help keep the cold air blowing up towards where the intake of your graphics card fan is more likely to be. The front, the reason why I say to add more fans is the front 120mm fan blowing over the hard drives will let air pass over, but it is quite restrictive. I found for the fans that I got sent with it, having the fan in the roof was slightly better, but I still probably would add that extra fan in the front as well, just so that you can get more air going through there. So it's not the best airflow case out the box, but it's easily solved with a few carefully placed fans. Cougar do make some really, really nice fans as well. If you're planning on going with that kind of orange and black look, it will do you perfectly well. You should be able to get pretty much every CPU cooling heatsink in there, you know, that's available really. The Fantex will fit in there, the Nocturne HD14 fits in there, the Silver Arrow will fit in there. I said air heatsinks. When you start talking about the kind of, you know, mediocre ground between air and water, when you start talking the H100, that won't fit, but you would be able to get the H80 in the back should you be mad enough to buy it. So my overall thoughts for this really, I I have to admit, this sort of style case really isn't my own personal taste, but I can thoroughly understand why a lot of people would like it. Now, what I'm going to award it is, I'm going to give it overall, I'm going to give it the Silver Award because it's a pretty well priced. There's a lot of nice design features there. The hard drive cage I really did like that. There's plenty of places that you can add fans. It's got a window of sorts. The fan expandability was the bit that I really liked. The fact that you can get 2 in the roof, you've got room in the floor, an extra 1 in the front, and it's dust filtered. Most of the case is toolless. You've got an extra PCI slot. I really liked all those little touches, but because of the fact, again, the fact that it is so gamer orientated, and I can imagine a lot of you really liking this, I'm going to give it the OC3D Gamer Award as well. So it's going to get the Silver and the Gamer Award. Now, I was quite amazed because, like I said, I've had this case for a little while now. Obviously got caught up with all the carnage of when I moved, but one of the things I was really surprised was with the amount of requests that I had to review this case while I've kind of been sat on it from all of you guys on YouTube and on the forums. There's been a lot of call for this. So whether some of you are seeing it as like a cheaper alternative to the Half X or something like that, it has proven to be really popular so far. And now I've given it a thorough going over, and I've seen that you can fit the biggest graphics cards in it, plenty of fan expandability, everything like that. I can kind of understand why. So, a really good showing from Cougar for your first, or one of your first, sorry, because there is another one, cases that you've released in the market. And yeah, deserving of the OC3D Silver Award, but as I said, also going to be giving it the OC3D Gamer Award because I can honestly see this being immensely popular with all the gamers out there. So yeah, definitely gets a thumbs up from TTL. Look forward to seeing more from Cougar soon, and I will be back very, very soon with another review for you. But for now at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan, out.